Hi all, this is the first video going out. Just a little bit of background. My name's Pippa Moorman. I live in a small town in Limpopo province, South Africa. And I'm 60 years old, turned 60 in January. And that's basically the start of my story, because every year I go for annual physical checkup. Just because I've got heart history in my family, having lost my father and my brother. And yeah, anyway, so I go every year for a checkup. And this year, all the blood tests, ECG, everything came up that I was probably the fittest I'd ever been, because I've been monitoring for 10 years now. Anyway, but my doctor in Hoedspruit did decide I needed to have a colonoscopy because I'm 60. I've avoided this for many years, mostly because I thought I don't have cancer in my family and it won't be relevant. But I took his advice after his receptionist did remind me a month later if I'd made the booking or not, which I hadn't. So luckily our town now has a hospital and I was able to book in and have the colonoscopy within a couple of days. Yeah, and that's when it all started. I went in routinely, not expecting any problems, had the colonoscopy, no problem, nothing. But when I came around from the sedation, the gastroenterologist said, listen here, we found cancer in your colon, showed me a photo, and then said I had to go for a CT scan just to check how big and where and what and blah, blah. So I went straight in for a CT scan, and as I came out, they'd picked up that the cancer had moved to my liver. So this means I've got adenocarcinoma, stage 4A, which means it's metastasized to my liver. There are three small, well, at that stage they saw two small growths. I was then referred to a surgeon, amazing guy as well, who then said I had to have an MRI to make sure exactly how big they were, where they were, and so on. The MRI showed that there were actually 3 growths on my liver. The biggest one, I think, was 1.5 centimeters, then 1 centimeter, and just lower than 1 centimeter. This was just before the Easter weekend. So the diagnosis happened on March the 12th, I think it was. And then we had all the public holidays in South Africa happening, and this part, the MRI, came just before Easter. Then just to let people know, you get given forms, first of all, for your medical aid to know what's happening. And secondly, if you can afford the treatment. So you need to be very prepared for all the paperwork. And this is where it's very, like, there's not really a human influence. I mean, the medical administrators are just amazing, and they're so helpful and get everything done, especially because some of the forms had to be done on my phone and I can't see properly, and it was just terrible. But anyway, it all got done, everything approved. Once that was set through, I was able to go and see an oncologist in Pretoria. This was, I think, the Thursday before Easter, and she's incredible doctor, recommended, highly recommended, and just so I was so lucky to get an appointment with her. And she said I had to get a port put in, which is a surgical procedure, which, let me show it to you here, because I'm all hooked up at the moment. So it's a little plastic thingy that goes in under the skin and joins directly up into your jugular, going straight into your heart. Apparently, when you start getting chemo, your veins start shutting down and your blood flow is not good and all of that. So it's probably best, she suggested, to have this port put in. which fantastically we managed to organize for the Wednesday morning after Easter. And then she said after I'd had the port put in, I could come in the following week and do my first chemo on the Tuesday. I just thought, awesome. She'd also explained to us the type of cancer I've got, how the procedure works, which is basically, in my case, is to do the chemo first to reduce the tumors in the colon and the liver. Then after 6 chemotherapies at 2 weekly intervals, they will do an MRI scan, check that things have reduced, and then I go in for surgery. Possibly liver first, as it's more complicated. And then after I get a bit out of breath. After a couple of weeks break, go into the colon surgery. I think I'm going to try to keep these videos to 10 minutes. So I'm going to just describe that first day after being diagnosed, because it was just, first of all, when the gastroenterologist told me what was going on, I just was so angry that this was happening to me, and I'm fit and healthy, and sorry, just letting my doggy in. Fit and healthy, how could this be? It's not right. You know, all that. This is Edward. And obviously my first phone call was to my brother. Well, actually to Yuri first and then to my brother. And the bizarrest thing was, in the bed next to me were, you know, being a small town, obviously people I knew. And it was just so weird sharing a cancer diagnosis with one of our best restaurant owners right next to me. But anyway, that's just how life goes. When I phoned Yuri and my brother, I was just so angry. And just like, it's not happening, it's just not on, they have to make double sure. Anyway, and then I sent a text off to my daughters on our family group. The one lives in Amsterdam and the other one's in Cape Town. And my elder Amsterdam daughter said, listen, take that message off the family group because the younger sister, Rebecca, is at work and she doesn't want to get this news now. And that was the first time I broke down in tears. I just didn't want my babies to know, to realize this was so horrible. It just sets me off now again, which just... Anyway, so that really was very hectic telling my children, because I thought they were just going to think, oh, Mom's so tough, she'll be fine, and all of this. Oh, that was very hard. Anyway, and then, of course, it happened again when we spoke to Rebecca when she got back from work. These poor children, even though they're 28 and nearly 30, it was just too hectic for them. But anyway, and then it was just a matter of the waiting games, like the results of the MRI, when I can have my first doctor's oncology appointment, when I start chemo, when I can have the operation. It's just all these questions. It was a difficult time. And I think if I can give advice to anybody going through this is, you can't predict times. Like they'll say your results are coming on Friday afternoon and then nothing happens. And then you've got the whole weekend. And then Monday comes and say, hi, how are the results? And say, maybe this afternoon. And you phone again, how are the results? Tomorrow morning, definitely. So you just never can really... You're dying for those results. You also don't want to hear them, but you can't do anything without them. So I think the result waiting is probably the worst. I didn't mean this to be a sob story. It will get better than this. Okay, I'm going to start winding down, and then I will start the next one when I went for my first chemo. Anyway, like and subscribe, tell your friends about it. This is totally new techno to me, so I'm still learning. But let's see if we can, I'm really doing this just to hold the hand of another person that's going through this, because as much as our doctors and nurses are just so amazing, I've had more comfort and support from friends of mine who've survived cancer or going through treatment at the moment. And everybody's journey is different. Everybody handles it differently. And I'm sure mine's going to be different as well. So anyway, thanks for listening. Share, subscribe and like. Thank you.